Hey guys, John here. Today I'm painting a Roseate Spoonbill. You could also call this a Roseate Spoonbill. I looked it up and there's a lot of arguments on how it's pronounced. We're going to get right into it. So I took this photo at the Frost Science Museum in Miami. Hillary and I were on like a little vacation. I think we went to see a basketball game, and they've got this. I'm a sucker. If you know me, I'm a sucker for aquariums and zoos. And the Frost Science Museum is like a planetarium and a museum and an aquarium all together. And so we had to go for sure. They have kind of on the rooftop, they've got these enclosed gardens and sectioned off areas that have a bunch of funky birds, and the roseate spoonbill was one of them, and I was literally this close to it. Like this is not a zoomed in photo. I was this close to it. and they're super cool. They were obviously very highly socialized with humans, so they don't really care about us very much. But yeah, I figured I'd paint it. Pink is a fun color to work with. I've got like 4 different types of red on this palette that I use, and so I figured this would be fun. I started with the background like you can see here, and I thought that it was a little too boring. And so I tried something here. I thought maybe I would paint some leaves into the background. I think I'm going to start that in a second. Yeah. Yeah, so here you see me starting the leaves. This was a little too detailed for me, and so I get a little looser as I go. But I think it added a nice effect. You know, it's not so distracting that you can't focus on the subject, but I think it's interesting enough that it's kind of a cool look. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to do the foreground watercolors now. Roseate spoonbills are pink, much like a flamingo, but they're not as entirely pink as a flamingo. They're, or at least this one, he had a lot of white on him. And so I'm going to try to leave some big sections of this guy untouched almost completely so that they kind of glow with this whiteness of the paper. But I'm going to start with the white areas so that, you know, I always work from light to dark, and there's not much lighter than the color white. So I added the shadows for all the white sections first, and then I'll come in here with my pinks in a little bit. He's also got a little bit of blue underneath his eye and on his chin, which I thought was really unique. Here we go with some of my pinks. The first color that I put here, I didn't really like. It wasn't vibrant enough for me. And I'm also going to remove some of this tape so that I can paint the pieces of my bird that go off the edge of the canvas here. You see this is a little slightly more vibrant than the first color I put down. Here we go now with the colored pencils. Just like most of my other process, I got most of the way with my watercolors, but I'm going to just refine it with the colored pencils and pens. So I'll start with black so I can add some of my darkest details and start to push the contrast a little bit here. So obviously for this bird and just about any other animal or living creature that you make, the focal point you're going to want to be the head. And so the further away from his head and his eyeball that I get, the less detailed I'm going to make my marks. And so toward the tail, toward the butt end of him, I am obviously going through with colored pencils and adding some stuff, but I'm not as concerned with getting super accurate details. Coming through with my pens now. I'm going to add a nice outline to just about everything here, and I'm going to kind of delineate some, like the beak where it meets the chin and kind of where the feathers start from the head. Because I left some of my areas white, I don't need to do as much work with my white pen here. One of the things I did want to do was kind of add a bit of a white outline, and I don't think this pen was quite big enough for that. So I'm actually going to run through here in a second, and I'm going to go grab a bigger pen so that I can outline it better. So So here I grabbed that Posca marker that I've used before, and I'm going to go around and add a big old highlight around the outside and some smaller ones inside that I think the pen would do better. The paint marker would do better than a pen. Getting toward the end here. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Ring the bell so you're notified whenever I post a new video. Share this with your friends. Leave a comment. Maybe if you've ever seen one of these before, let me know. I see them all the time. They're all over in Florida, but maybe if you're not exactly from Florida or you're from a more metropolitan area, maybe you don't see them as often. Maybe you didn't know this wasn't a flamingo. Let me know that as well. But anything is wonderful. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate all the views, and I'll see you in the next one.